Hi, everyone, and welcome. We're really glad that you're here today for this service webinar. My name is Ana Leon, and I will be facilitating today's conversation. And today's session is all about strengthening customer service practices and creating a memorable in-store experience that build loyalty and long-term success. So whether you're a manager or staff or a member or store owner, the goal of today is to walk away with some practical strategies that you all can hopefully implement on your stores and share I don't know, tips and successes between each other. It's conversational, and we might have some time at the end for questions, but please feel free to share, like also in the comments, like in the chat section, like as we go. If you have any questions or any additional idea, that will be great. So just to start, let's dive in, and why don't we do a round of introductions with your name, and which store do you work for, or and where are you located, so we can continue with that. And I forgot to mention, I am with ASONET, the Appalachian Center for Economic Networks, and we are located in Athens, Ohio. So if there are any volunteers to start, that would be great. And if not, I might just be calling on people.
I'll start.
Wonderful.
Hey, everybody. I'm Shelley Keeney. I am with the Wild Ramp Market in Huntington, West Virginia. We are a year-round indoor nonprofit farmers market.
Awesome. I'm thinking it might just be easier if I call on people, so then we don't have some awkward silences. So, Erin, if you want to go next.
Sure. I'm Erin Harvey. I'm the director at Keller Market House, and we're also a year-round indoor nonprofit farmers market in Lancaster, Ohio. We're just about to turn 10 years old.
Yeah, I'm Stephanie, and I work under Aaron, and I'm pretty much 100% in customer service.
Awesome. Adam?
Hi, my name's Adam Schwederman. I work at local Roots Market Café based out of Worcester, Ohio, and we very similarly are a year-round indoor market that basically started out like an extension of the farmers market and has kind of grown into more of a full service market that provides community food hub type of activities, but really focused on retail sale of local and healthy foods.
Awesome. Robin?
Yeah, hi. I'm Robin Davis. I run the public market here in Wheeling, West Virginia. Same sort of structure. We're year-round indoor farmers market. We also have our health and organic food section and a kitchen, and we're a project of a larger nonprofit organization, Grow Ohio Valley. And we've been here for 6 years.
Awesome. Jody?
Hi, I'm Jody Adams. I'm the executive director of Grow Ohio Valley. And as Robin said, we are the parent organization of the public market. And we're in Wheeling, West Virginia, as you all know.
Awesome. All right, so maybe Amelia, I don't know if you're there or if it's just your note taker. Let's see. Yeah, it might just be her note taker. But let's also do some introductions from the ASONET team. Megan?
Everyone. I'm Megan Loveland. I'm the Programs and Communications Coordinator at AceNet in Athens, Ohio.
Awesome. Avery?
Hi everyone, I'm Avery Snyder. I'm the multimedia designer at AceNet, and I also kind of have a background in customer service at grocery stores. So,
Yeah, awesome. Leslie, hi.
Hey, hey, you guys, Leslie Scheller. Frazzled at AceNet. I've been on Zoom since, I don't know, 10 this morning, and our internet keeps going out. So I may go off and on video, but happy to see you all. Excited for this conversation. Thank you, Anna, for being the facilitator.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And so just for how we will go for the next section of questions, similar to what we've done in the past, just like go around and answering, and then if someone at the end of one of the questions have some extra comments after everyone has answered, maybe you have something to comment on another person's answer, we can go back to that. So yeah, just to start, I want to ask what customer service practices have worked best for your store? And maybe we can start with you, Shelly, again, if that sounds good.
Okay, sure. So, wow, there's so many, but I guess, storytelling probably has worked the best for our market. Storytelling about the farmers, our community, why our market, how our market got its roots, where it started. I think that's what really engages our customers, and that is part of customer service, and product knowledge, knowing about the products that we have here at the market and the farmers that we serve. Yeah, I think that's probably been the most important, just being able to provide our customers with good information about what they're purchasing, why they're purchasing, what it means to, keeping the food dollars in our local economy, what it means to, buy from neighboring farms and support them. So I think that's probably worked well for us. You're on mute.
Sorry, yeah, I realized that. Yeah, and that makes sense. What about you, Adam? Maybe you are not hearing us. I think that he might be having some.
Hello.
Oh, here goes.
I knew I was being asked a question, but all of a sudden my noise stopped coming out of my headphones. So sorry about that.
No worries.
Am I
Uh,
up next?
yes.
Yeah, that was a funny one. I could see everybody's faces like, yep, yeah, he's having problems. Yeah, so customer service for us at Local Roots, I think, um, important to mention for anybody else who've used this. A lot of you kind of already know this, but that are on the call. But Local Roots is a cooperative structure, which as a leader in that organization, I always try to remember that in the way that some organizations are structured might be different than ours. Like we have direct member owners, that kind of make up our entity, and they're both producers and consumers. So a lot of times I think of our customers, actually also I have to provide customer service to our producers as well, because they come to us for a set of needs. They rent our commercial kitchen, they sell lunch out of our dining space, and they're kind of like equal share members. Even the farmers that sell through us, they're equal share holders of the organization just as much as anybody else does. And it's our job to kind of provide service to them too. So it's just a different bit of a unique lens, I guess. I know we're all here to kind of support the producers, um, but I wanted to bring that up so that people kept that in mind if they're interested in starting a local food market, that a lot of what it is that we do is customer service facing to our suppliers as well, and trying to make, their ability to come in and sell goods in the market as smooth and simple as possible. They feel supported, that they know what they need to do, whether it's a stocking question or what types of products to sell in the market, how to price their products, what quantity or case pack or packaging and labels and all sorts of things that could come up from a producer standpoint is always kind of in the front of our mind. And then as a local food market, supporting a lot of local foods and that kind of being the core of um, our programming, we also have to think too about our customers that need to eat things and servicing them and making sure that people that come and buy things at our store, that it's affordable, um, that it's of a good quality, that they can trust it, and that builds trust and partnership with the local producers. And then in an area where we've started to expand the last 5 or 6 years more, we've been around for 16 years now. And in the last 5 years, we've just slowly started carrying more things that aren't made by local producers as well. So we're still probably, I would say, 80 to 85% of the goods that are sold here come from what we would consider to be local, sources. But people need to eat things too to be healthy and, take care of themselves and their families that aren't available, like, out of state produce as an example. We didn't do that for the first 15 years we were in operation. We never bought produce from outside of this region. And just this year, for the first time, we started getting produce in because we got a lot of feedback from our customers that's like, I'm going to buy that somewhere. I have to eat. I can't just eat meat and potatoes and like rutabaga all year, from February through the end of March. And so we started buying kale and citrus and stocking our shelves with that because the refrigerators were just empty anyway. And we've actually had a lot of really positive response from our customers. And in the local food movement, I think that's always kind of like a very delicate balance that we all try to carry. Um, so, the way that we achieve a lot of that stuff is by consumer surveys and asking for feedback, both in web forms and also just in the store. We ask people to fill out like, how do you feel about this? What do you want that you don't have, and so forth and so on. So those are some of my takes on customer service.
Yeah, great. I think that makes total sense. Asking directly to the customers, right? Like, what do they need? What about you, Robin?
Yeah, here at the market, just general like customer service practices that work for us. We really try to hire the right people. I focus on that a lot, people that genuinely enjoy customer service and that like sincere, genuine interaction between customer and staff and like the vendors also we would consider within that customer service realm. Same thing. And then people that really want that are mission focused, that connect with like what we're doing and why we're here and are knowledgeable and will eager to learn about our vendors and our products and then help teach it to the customers and then having that knowledge available for the customers to learn why like eating local is important and what we do at the market and its value to the community as a whole. But that helps a lot. We push for that. Yeah, and I mean, I really push the genuine interaction. We greet everybody, and our membership program helps a lot with that, like retention and genuine connection.
Mhm.
You know.
Hey, Anna, I'll just jump on to Robin's if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. I, for them, am going to mention a couple of things. One is their SNAP program. So they have a SNAP program that subsidizes 50% of everything that is covered with the SNAP payment. And so because we fundraise, we're and able to cover that 50%, we're able to really market to that customer and to ensure that they are getting the same access as folks who can maybe afford the little more expensive local meat, local produce, and healthier foods that we get into the market. So that is a big, big key to the customer service success at the public market. Robin mentioned their membership program. So for customers who are part of the membership program, they do a wholesale case sale where the members can buy cases of their favorite product at a wholesale price. And that's something that was asked for. So similarly to what Adam was saying about listening to the customer and their needs, it was something that the customer had asked for early on, and something that the team has really supported and taken the ball and run with, because they've integrated it a little more smoothly into the membership program. And then, you know, Robin talked about greeting a little bit, and that authentic interaction that is really big within the store. We're in downtown Wheeling. I hear greeting happening all throughout the store when I'm there, which is amazing. As soon as somebody walks through the door, a cashier gives a warm hello. I think it is huge in customer service today to be greeted and acknowledged when you walk into a location. And then the last thing I'll mention is something that is so simple, but that I think made a huge difference in our store years ago when we changed it. So when you walk into the location, you see the back, there's a big giant wall behind the register. And we used to have random artwork up there. And probably the first year in, we took the opportunity to put our mission statement up there, our product policy up there, and like 4 big banners that really establishes why we're here in the community and what we do. I think that was a huge game changer. So when you walked into the public market previous to that, it was kind of like, what is this place? There was a register with random artwork. There was sort of like some tchotchke items up at the front, then some grocery items. And I think, you know, through that placement and then really strategic merchandising, we were able to get the customer to understand as soon as they walked in the door what we were, and what our mission was, and why it was so important to shop there. So you know, yes, the customer interaction with our people is amazing. And some of the things that we did to support that with visuals, and just the way that the customer is shopping were also really supportive there.
Yeah, I hear you. And I think I was recently at the Keller Market, and I was noticing how you all also have like on the right wall, like the mission, and like it explains a little bit about like how the store works, right? But anyhow, I'm just gonna let you answer the question, Erin.
Yeah, thanks for noticing our banners. Well, I'll probably kind of defer to Stephanie on a lot of these because she's really like our customer expert, our customer service expert. But I will just kind of chime in that we've been working a lot as we've grown so much the last couple of years, I think, to really kind of focus on the customer service role, whereas it used to be kind of one person was expected to like do everything all at once. We've been trying to have more of a division of labor and really kind of lift up that role to our staff and make them understand that like that comes first. The customer service is the number one priority. And hopefully we can all work to like free up a designated person to do that at all times, and kind of keep them, you know, happily occupied at the checkout counter so they really can make the customers their first priority. Sometimes, you know, like Adam said, like the vendors also, you know, we're here to serve them. Hopefully they recognize that the customer is going to come first and they're going to come second. But if we can have kind of a more a sense of who's doing what at a given time, somebody can really focus on customers, somebody else can really be freed up to, you know, jump away and help a vendor in the moment when they need it. So it's kind of a process because, you know, we all want to like stay busy and we're tempted to like go do a thing, but we've really tried to, you know, just hammer home customer comes first, whoever you are, whatever you are doing. If you see somebody needs something, you know, go help them.
And I agree with Aaron, and I really appreciate what you all said because I, over the years, feel the same way about knowing the store. It's really important to know like when your store began and give that information to the customer. But I've always felt being in this field as customer service that the customers just aren't customers. They're someone I'm building a relationship with. And so I try, and Erin knows this, I have a book under our register and I keep track of people's names. And over the years that I've worked under her, like I've learned to greet people by their names because when we're in relationships, that's how we speak to each other's name. And I really think that probably been the biggest thing, even in other jobs that I've had. I've always kept my book and I have wonderful relationships with the customers. And so that would be my big thing. And then also educating the customer service people, about the store so we can offer correct information and promote and get them to come back.
And we stole that from Stephanie and turned that into one of our taglines. We say we don't have customers, we have relationships. And I think that goes a long way to explaining like who we are as an organization.
Yeah, and we do, even with the mailman, whoever comes through that door, they're important to us.
Yeah, I love that. Not customers, but relationships. That's really great. Um, so some of you were talking a little bit about how important it is to have the right staff. So now I want to ask, how do you train and motivate your staff? Because yeah, I mean, ideally you already hire people that are like almost ready to do like excellent service, but if not, what are some of those strategies and like how each of your processes look like to train your staff to deliver like exceptional customer service if possible. And I'm just gonna like keep on like on the same order. So Shelly.
Yeah, so we do have a training that the staff goes through when they're first hired on, and we also do a little bit of role playing. I know it sounds a little bit goofy, but we do the role playing thing too, and that seems to work out really well because there are going to be times when there might be some difficult situations with customers where one of the staff may not know the answer to a question, and so we kind of do that in our role playing too when we're doing it. But I think with customer service, we're just always having to go back and take a look at maybe something that has happened that past week, because I do one-on-ones with the staff every week just to see, are there any issues that have come up? And sometimes we'll add that to our training. If it's something brand new that has come up that none of us have dealt with, I'll add that to our little training manual and everything with customers. But really, it's back to hiring the right people too, to staff your market. I think, and that's extremely important. And just the same, the treat people the way that you would want to be treated type thing, and really being a good listener with your customers and everything. So most of it comes down to actual, training type manuals and things like that, and what's expected of them, and and that's training, for the customers and the farmers and food producers both. How do we want to make sure that everybody has a positive experience? And so, and we really do focus on acknowledging concerns from customers too, and from the farmers. That's huge. Handling that the right way and everything. And so, yeah, about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I noticed I was muted again. So yeah, how about you, Adam?
Can you hear me?
Maybe. Yes.
Did that happen again at the exact same time?
Yeah.
I
It's
usually
funny.
happens or something. Yeah, so from a training standpoint, uh, I would say, important to highlight. I think a lot of very similar to your guys' stores probably, but like most of the people that have ever worked in our organization have had to work at the checkout register at some point. Like when we got started, there was a one employee kind of operation. Like the person that was behind the checkout register was also the one that handled all the cash and did all of the marketing and worked with all of the producers. Like it's almost like an owner operator kind of a shop, with maybe just a few kind of support staff. So when you're marketing local food, where it's direct from the producer, it's really important and it's just natural, it's intrinsic in our business model that the people that are actually checking you out at the register have direct, well-informed, intimate relationships with the farmers and the food producers that are stocking the shelves. So they really get to know the products. And that's kind of what makes our markets unique, I think. And then, people like that. It's, caught on and people are more sensitive to what they're feeding themselves and their families at this point, and they get accustomed to the fact that they can come here to Local Roots or to one of these other markets that you guys are all running and talk to somebody that really knows, you know, the ins and outs of the food. Is it a good choice for them and their family? And a lot of people with dietary restrictions or that are pretty particular about what they eat. So it's really kind of ends up being like a little bit of a specialty food store and a nutrition store at the same time. And you can't really get that unless you have a genuine passion and interest for those products and the stories behind the producers as well. And so I think when we're training people, we're bringing them in with the understanding and the expectation that they really need to care about that stuff. And it doesn't have to be every single person in the organization at this point. Like sometimes we have four that are working on the floor at one time, but in that case, like two of them really, really need to know it, like stone cold. They need to know when a customer comes up and says, like, hey, is this organic or not? You can't have somebody that lies to them because they don't know the answer, or just says, like, I don't know, and doesn't get a follow-up answer because the customers really care about that stuff. That's why they come to us. Um, and then you have, because there's so many different producers and consumers that are coming in, you need some extroverts, even if they are like masking as extroverts and they do it during work and then they go home and they shut down. You need to be able to switch that on. And I saw a couple of you laughing. I know how that is. Yeah. So I think you have to have that in you to work for us at least, that when people walk in the door, it is like you're really excited to see the customers or the producers and meet them where they're at and help them along with their day. So those are the things that we try to train on. And then the other one, my last one, from a logistical standpoint, is balancing all of that, and the chit chat that all the consumers want with just actually doing the work and keeping the line moving. I have to tell people, like, it's okay to tell people you're too busy to chat that much. There is an art form to making people feel appreciated and acknowledged, but not letting them kind of suck up your day too, because if you're giving it energy and attention to one customer, you're not giving it to the other. So you kind of have to bounce back and forth a lot, and we work on that a lot too.
Yeah.
I just want to chime in real quick and say that one is very difficult, I find, for all of us staff here at the market. That balance, right? Because we want to give the customer our full attention, and there are times when that conversation can go on for quite a while. But
You know
because
what
we
we
love our
do?
customers.
You know what we do, Shelley? And
What?
I lead it. I call it exposure therapy. I tell everybody, I'm like, watch this. Like customer comes up and I will tell the employee that I'm training. I said, I'll say to the customer, hey, we're going to use you for training here real quick, okay? And they're like, okay, fine. And I'm like, how's your day? How's it going? We make a little bit of small talk and I'm like, so good to see you. Next in line, step on up, come on. And I brush that person aside and then I'll look at the staff and be like, that's how you do it, you know?
I got to
You're
tell
not
you,
hurting anybody's feelings by shutting the conversation down. You're helping out the next customer.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's such a good point. Thank you. That was awesome. I see it every day. Like we're just talking to one person and the line is building up. And I think, Adam, you said it beautifully. It's like if you're with that customer, there are three other customers that are waiting. So it's like you can't say, oh, we want to be with our customer. They're our most important. Well, what about the other three that are waiting? So if you think about it really logically, like you just said, I love that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, like finding that like kind language, but like very direct language, yeah, that totally makes sense. So yeah, Robin, I don't know if like you would like to add something to that.
Yeah, when we're training staff, we really encourage all of those things, as well as like with new people, vendor interaction, like making sure you get to know the vendors individually. And at the point of sale, I think really making sure everybody's familiar and adept at working the point of sale system effectively and efficiently to keep that line moving. So if you have issues where like things aren't ringing up quickly enough or things aren't tagged or put in the system, they're able to like quickly deal with that. And I know sometimes with customers, I use it to help guide my staff. And sometimes if they're not sure how to get out of those really long interactions, aren't comfortable, we have something we call a code Jennifer we use in the store to where we'll just mention to somebody else like, hey, Jennifer texted, or did you see Jennifer called earlier? And that's assigned to somebody else like, I need help getting out of this conversation and getting it moved in a way quickly. And that's been pretty useful in a lot of
Oh
situations.
my God, I love that. That's
Yeah,
very
I
creative.
started using it in my like social circle and everything. When I'm out with friends, if you're stuck in a conversation, just, hey, Jennifer show up yet? Yeah, we love seeing Jennifer at the store.
Oops. We've used that one as well. And that's helpful to have a code. I mean, sometimes you need to use it.
Yeah, and it softens the blow with the customer a little bit too, so it's less like, oh, I'm like, I need to move on. We're super busy. It's a way to have somebody else step in and be that person. If you do have staff that's a little bit more introverted or less comfortable doing those things. And I also
Yeah,
really
and
encourage every, oh no,
I think it happens equally with the vendors and the
yeah,
customers
yeah.
equally. Yeah, the conversations can go on a little bit too long and then we're not paying attention to another vendor too or another customer.
Yeah, no, I encourage everybody with also on the opposite side of that, actively listening. Like when you do have opportunities for those interactions with customers, not just hearing and putting on like your customer service face, but listening to what they're saying, remembering who they are, remembering like what they're buying, remembering like why they come to the store and what they're looking for, and hearing what they like, hearing the feedback or even hearing like the positives actively and not just like in a blank customer service format, I think is super useful and helps with that genuine, authentic connection to customers.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Leslie was also putting in the chat that we need Jennifer code for
Love
ASONET.
code
And
Jennifer.
I think, yes, we haven't thought about that, but that's a great idea that we could also definitely use. And what about Stephanie and Erin?
I'm feeling like we've been really lucky. Like we've had such good staff. I don't know that I've ever really felt like I had to motivate. What do you think?
Well, was my thought. Like because I don't work in a management position. I've just done customer service for like 40 years. And I think sometimes that person feels they're not as important because they're just a clerk. But Erin always lets me know I'm just as valuable. And I'm 100% customer service. And so, yeah, I think because I'm 100% customer service, I don't struggle with getting out of conversations because someone else is always doing the other things. If I get a line, I've gotten to know the customers. I've known their names, like I use eye contact for the person behind me. I can minimize the conversation. I can sort of be inclusive with that. So I find balance pretty easy, but I also recognize my new customers opposed to my repeat customers. And I'm able to give those new customers more time. And because I've made the relationship with the repeat customers, they're patient. They recognize what I'm doing. And so that would be my big thing. And at a training aspect, being customer service, I've learned you just never interrupt, never. I mean, even when other employees are there, that's just not a good practice. And so I think that's imperative. I think thanking the customer, being willing to apologize, to listen, those are just really the skills that I try and hone in on.
Yeah. And I think maybe talking about this that you mentioned, like be willing to apologize, maybe that can be an introduction to our next question that is like, how do you handle difficult customers or challenging situations in an effective way? And because, yeah, sometimes, like, I'm sure that you all have experienced moments where there was like some issue and like the store definitely needed to be accountable for something, but also I'm sure that there are cases where like you just have some not great customers. So how do you handle that? Shelley?
Wow. I mean, it's rare, I'll have to say that has happened, but it's happened. Um, you know, okay, I won't bring this one up, but sometimes you you have to diffuse. I've had to diffuse situations before where a customer has been upset because of something, and I can't even remember what now. Um, if it's possible, I will ask to speak to that customer like outside of the market or in my office if it's something that they're kind of upset about. But if not, and I'm not always here either. So what I've had the staff do is just to ask them, really what you have to figure out what is this customer looking for? What are they wanting? Are they wanting a refund? Are they not happy with the product? So you really have to decide what it is that they're going to want. And I think it's okay to ask them too, like, what is it that you would like to have happen? Right. And then you can kind of go from there. Sometimes you can give them what they want, and sometimes you can't. But most of the time, our customers are great. With staff, if someone's yelling at them, which has rarely happened, but it has, or just really upset, then I think or using profanity, then I think it is okay to ask a customer to leave the market, but that's been rare. I want to say I've been here since 2012, maybe twice. And and a lot, and actually one of those times the customer came back and apologized. They were having a bad day. So I think that happens too. But most of the time, gosh, it's been pretty darn good, I have to say. And I think we're very lucky and fortunate that we deal with people that actually want to be here. And it's not that drudgery of going to the grocery store. Oh my gosh, I dread going to Kroger or wherever. They come here because they know that it's going to be a pleasant experience, and they're going to get to talk to someone and exchange recipes. But on those rare occasions that it does happen, I think it's okay if it gets out of hand to ask a customer to leave the market, if need be. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has had that issue, but yeah.
Yeah. I think that makes sense, like setting boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Adam? How your experience have been?
Yeah, I think maybe a unique perspective on this. I don't know if anybody else looks at it this way, but I like to I like to remember sometimes that we probably have like the nicest customer group of anybody that has to deal in the customer service realm. And sometimes that actually works against us. Like I appreciate that and I love it, and that's probably why I work here is we don't have to deal with a bunch of angry customers um, that are a pain, and it's really a bear to service them. But it's our job. It's really the opposite, where it's like everybody's just so amazing and nice all the time that when you walk in, it's like everybody's happy and in a good mood. And I think sometimes even if they are customers in particular, if they don't have a great customer service experience, they aren't the type of people to tell you. They aren't going to let you know if you mess up their order, if they get a product and they purchased it and it wasn't a very good quality, they're not going to come back and demand a refund. And they're just going to be like, it's fine. I understand. Things happen sometimes. So I actually find myself a little bit more trying to encourage that feedback from customers, not necessarily to our staff, but directly to me a lot of times because I want to get a pulse on what's not going well, like what can we do better. And I think if they feel like it's a safe space to provide that feedback, that they're not going to get anybody in trouble, if you can help them understand, like we really just want a better store, we want to be a better merchandiser for our producers and to help all the small farms as much as possible. And if we don't get feedback, a lot of times we don't know how to improve. That the customers will open up a little bit and tell you, well, sometimes, it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes this happens. And then we can learn from that and we can grow on it and we can, use it for training or review it as a team as a way to get better. Um, so I kind of feel like sometimes we need to encourage that grumpy customer to come out a little bit more, which is a weird way of looking at it, but I do. And then the other side of it is if you do really have a grumpy customer, somebody has feedback for you, it's important to remember, Shelley said this too, that sometimes they're just having a bad day. And it's okay to pull that person aside and talk to them and try to tease out like whether they just need to vent, just echoing what Shelley said too, because I think it was spot on. Like, what do you want out of this? And they can tell you, like, I just wanted to make sure somebody knew, and then you're there and you're actively listening. But and if you tried to give that person a refund, they might be offended because they're like, it has nothing to do with the money. I just want to be heard, So asking a lot of times first can really help guide you as to how to build a connection with that person. And then you can follow up with saying, like, I really heard you. Thank you so much. We're going to take this and review it with the entire team so everybody knows the right thing to do going forward. We really, really appreciate it. Please let us know if this ever happens again. Here's my direct email address or whatever.
I have something quick. So, has anyone implemented a suggestion box in any of their stores? I know that a place that I used to work, we had a suggestion box. And I know you can do surveys and all of that, but sometimes people just like to write something down really quick, customers, and put it in there. And we used to do this where customers would put a suggestion, and if that suggestion got implemented, and we asked for their names and everything, and they knew that if their suggestion got implemented, then they would get something in return. I think we gave them a $5 gift card or something like that. But that encourages positive suggestions and not just negative ones. But I really liked when we did that at another place that I worked, was the suggestion box, and then positive, positive, and then maybe a gift card if that suggestion on something we could do better at the market, or no, whatever it might be, and then a gift card in return. So that, I liked that. I don't know if anyone's done that at their markets.
We've done it. We currently don't have one. It kind of got a little bit of traction and then it fizzled out, but I like the idea.
Yeah, I think that that's a very direct way of getting that feedback. Um, and Robin and Jody, how has it been for you all?
Yeah, we I would almost want to say unfortunately, but it is kind of fortunate that at the market we, because of our location, get a unique variety of customers. And in our space, we get to practice dealing with a lot of those challenging customers. And I work a lot with the staff on being really comfortable with holding those boundaries of like what we can allow in the store and what sort of almost we expect in customer behavior back from what we offer to the community. And just being comfortable with like if there is customers that are disrupting the flow of the store or other customers, being comfortable with asking them to leave. I've had multiple times to the point of like there's people permanently not allowed within our space. And then just in customer feedback, and if there is like complaints outside of those like more harsher situations, just that active listening. A lot of people in my customer service experience, I come from a very like corporate customer service realm of I was always taught not to apologize but to thank and to let people know we appreciate the feedback and we really take it to heart genuinely. And a lot of people just want to be heard, just really actively listening to what they're saying and participate in the conversation, nod, make eye contact, give them the space to give the feedback and let them know like we are thankful because I've always used the terms of like, that's not the experience we want you to have here. Like, that's not the experience we want to offer. And that sort of language has always been, I know, I find it really helpful and I find it helpful to teach my staff that sort of language of not like, oh, we're so sorry, but like, thank you for letting us know this. And like, thank you for letting us know, like, that's not the quality we want you to have in this space. Yeah, and the code Jennifer with the challenging customers, that's where that came from actually, was if the staff isn't comfortable or if there's this really challenging, like aggressive situations where things might escalate, of being able to tap in a manager or somebody else without drawing attention to it or potentially becoming like defensive in those situations.
Yeah.
And Anna, I don't have anything to add really, but the team there does such a good job. They've got a really unique, I'll say, customer base. And a lot of the folks who are in there are not truly customers in the way that they are buying something, but they are using the restroom or just coming in. And they do a really, really great job of diffusing if they need to. And like Robin said, if someone is disruptive, or high and disruptive in any way, shape, or form, they do a really good job of staying really calm and just having the person exit the store without it being too dramatic. And they've just done a really good job of doing that. And then legitimate customer concerns. I know Robin was going to put something into effect last year after she got back from the Farm Stop conference, and she did it for like a minute. It was like a green, red something. Anyhow, there was some type of implementation, and I know we don't really have time to get into that right now, but for those of you who did go to that conference, I don't know if it was something y'all talked about this year, but it sounded like a great idea that she was going to implement. And I don't know where we are with that, but maybe it's something we can talk about on another call.
Yeah, that was an idea I got from Argus. They use Code Red and Code Green, and it's a shared just Google sheet. And anytime they're given any feedback, good or bad, red or green, they put it on that sheet and it's shared with the entire staff and discussed. But it just became one more step in a process to the point where a lot of people are really scared to acknowledge and own up to the code reds or the bad feedback. And that's something I'm still trying to work with everybody, even myself on a daily basis, of not taking it personally. And like when you're given feedback, not taking it as, oh, look at this huge mistake you've done. And like you've really messed up, but as an opportunity for growth. And I think getting past that hurdle is what kept us from like being able to fully implement that process. But I'd love to be there one day.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it sounds like it will be very beneficial, but also a little bit time consuming, maybe. Yeah, just trying to find that balance. Okay, and Erin and Stephanie?
Yeah, well, to kind of echo that turning it into an opportunity thing a little bit, I guess I would just say I've been in customer service for a very long time in a lot of different settings, and I've really seen instances where maybe somebody's very skeptical, or you do screw something up and something needs to be like addressed with them. Try to look at it as an opportunity to win them over, because what impresses you more than when somebody screws up and then they handle it well? And kind of back to our, like, we have relationships, we don't just have customers. So, maybe you have a really negative interaction, but you're able to like recover from it. Sometimes those become your most loyal customers, I think. So of course there's always, the person that is not going to be satisfied, or something that is truly like unsettling or dangerous. I'm not talking about those instances, but just your everyday run of the mill. I think we all understand that things are going to go wrong, but then how do we deal with it is the important part.
Okay, I guess my take would be like all of yours. It comes down to hiring the right person, first of all. And, I've not been in explosive circumstances at Keller Market, but in my past I have. And it is remaining calm. It's willing to listen. My one-liner would always be like, oh, my apologies. And then I listen. I'm so sorry, I keep acknowledging. And then I thank them for their patience. So I'm ending with the thank you. Oh, thank you so much for your patience. I'm an introvert myself. And so, I come to work, I think it was a skill, and I come through the door. And today I was like, oh, really, I'm angry, but you guys don't know that. You have no idea. And I don't want you to know. And so it's really teaching that person, do your best to leave it at the door. And I've seen in my history where some people, if it's not the right person, they can't leave it at the door. And it's unfortunately expressed to the customer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And thank you everyone for all your answers. And I just realized it's already almost like one minute until 1 p.m. So before we wrap up, I just want to make sure, like, maybe like give some chance for a question if someone wants to like talk about like something specific within this topic for today. Maybe we can do that for the next few minutes and then close. And it's also okay if not.
Yeah, no questions. Just from what everyone has, talked about, I think we're all just extremely fortunate to work where we do within agriculture and farm and food producers. Food makes everybody happy, right? So people are generally in a good mood when they come in here, and I think my staff, we all appreciate that. Like I said, I don't know, 14 years, had 2 customers that may not have, been very happy, but I think that's a good track record. And maybe others have not said anything. That's true, Adam. Some people just go about their business and don't say anything. And maybe I appreciate that, but then again, I would want to know. I would want to know if someone's not happy, because they may not voice it here, but they will certainly voice it on social media or to their friends.
Or they
And
just
so
they just
I
won't
would want to
come
know that.
back. We
Won't
had
come back.
a company I used to work for. It was a big company, and they did a lot of consumer survey studies, and they always used the ratio. I never saw the data that backed it, but they said for every 10 people that complain, there's 100. So it's like a 10-to-1 ratio, 100 people that won't say anything. So you can kind of assume if you get a complaint that 10 other people thought it and didn't say it. And so if you think about the ripple and the impact of that, um, it's like the person who does say something, it might just be the tip of an iceberg that you don't realize. It's very, 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 very valuable input.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting statistic and worth like paying attention to that. But yeah, thank you everyone for all your time and for sharing your honest insights and experiences. I appreciate all of you, and and definitely thank you for all the work that you do serving your communities